first up on the rundown for the WNBA, we are going to talk about the best team. The best team in the WNBA is, I feel like it's between two teams. You could argue three. Through 13 games, the New York Liberty, they have the best record. Their record is 11-2. I have an 11-2 record. To start off the season, the Connecticut Sun, they were extremely hot. They started off the season 9-0, but the Liberty and the Connecticut Sun, they just met this past weekend, and the Liberty was able to defeat them. So Connecticut Sun start off as the top dog. Right now, their record is 9-1 after losing to the Liberty. And so you could have that toss-up type of conversation. Okay, well, Liberty just beat the Connecticut Sun. Connecticut is the 1 seed. Liberty is the 2 seed. Is Connecticut better? Do you deem them the top team, or do you deem Liberty the top team? I would personally give it to the Liberty, right? I would give it to the Liberty right now, considering their record. And the reason why is because watching that game, the Connecticut Sun have the advantage because they have the #1 defense in the WNBA, and they also play at a slow pace. So not only are they limiting your opportunities to score the ball with their pace, their defense, is outstanding. They're allowing fewer than 70 points per game. Another quick footnote: don't hang me on a cross to die with some of the stats. We are shooting this June 10th. So all the stats that I'm dropping and the notes that I'm dropping are from June 10th, from the start of the WNBA season up to June 10th. And even in talking now, the Sun and the Fever play tonight. So everything from 5 o'clock on June 10th all the way back to the start of the WNBA season are the numbers that I am using. Yeah, man. But yes. So I would give the edge to the Liberty. The Liberty right now, to be the best, you got to beat the best. Last year, trying to get to the finals, these two teams were fairly still similar, not too dramatic of changes in the off season, outside of outside of the Sun getting Brianna Jones back. But other than that, these teams are fairly similar to last season. And if you ask me, okay, who is the best team right now, I would say it would have to be the New York Liberty. Your core, right? Sabrina, Jonquel, as well as Brianna Stewart. That core is doing what it's supposed to do. Like they haven't fallen off. Salute to them right now. They haven't been hit with no injuries. Those top 3 players have played all 3 games. And right when you think, okay, like how do we try to zone in and focus on them in terms of like how do you go about stopping them? Like it's really no stopping them. You could only hope for them to have a bad game. But then you got Lainey Hamilton, who's a sniper, a Swiss Army knife, who could also go off of 20 points a game, but she's also going to be a absolute dog on the defensive end. Then you got players like Thornton coming off the bench. So right now, with them gelling, with them having the experience that they had last year, obviously you come into this season, you hella motivated considering you lost in the finals. Y'all have that same nucleus. Vandersloot hasn't had like she's missed a couple games, personal reasons, not sure why. Definitely hope it's nothing too serious. Her team gave her a shout out on the national game versus Connecticut. But despite not having Vandersloot for not having her for all the games this season, the Liberty have not missed a beat. They have not missed an absolute beat at all. They came out against Connecticut, put their foot on their neck. Connecticut fought back, but nonetheless, overall, in the end, the Liberty proved to be the better team. And so just some quick stats, you know what I mean? Some quick stats. You got Stewart, she averaging 18 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 stocks. Sabrina, she giving you 17 points and 5 assists. And Jonquel Jones, she averaging 15 and 8. Those numbers, like, is either one. What makes them even that's another thing. What makes them so great, and why I would deem them the best team right now. I don't know. Some of y'all probably thinking like, boy, you like, what about the Aces? Like, be cool on that. We got to respect the game. Go check out the podcast. You feel me? um, there's a matchup for the Liberty to exploit every single night. If you're not, if you don't have a strong defensive presence in the post, that could be Sabrina's night. That could be Jonquel's night. If you don't have discipline or quick enough, strong enough defenders on the perimeter, that could easily be Sabrina's night. That could easily be Lainey Hamilton night. You feel me? And again, in Thornton, she just finds a way to make plays. One of those, players where, as they say, you may not see it on the box score, but Shawty gonna come through and give you quality minutes off the bench, and that would be what I would hang my hat on the most as it relates to the New York Liberty. They have a favorable matchup just about every single night with their big three. Um, so yeah, and them beating the Sun, like I said, that completely put the icing on the cake. Now the Sun, they're a great team. Well, I don't want to use the word great loosely. I think that in order for this team to really, really, really hunker down, um, I know it sounds crazy, but I feel like Alyssa Thomas, I feel like she has to find a way to be a bit more aggressive in terms of scoring, not taking away what she does on the boards, not taking away how easy she creates offenses for her teammates. But because she's not as aggressive as a scorer, when I was watching that game, I seen glimpses of it when I was watching that game with them versus the Liberty, where teams would like sag off of her because they know she's trying to set up the offense, or they know, okay, the DHO, the dribble handoff is coming somewhere. And it kind of like allows the defense to not be as honest when guarding her as she's trying to set up the offense. And so I think you got to find a way to you have to find a way for Alyssa Thomas to just like be able to just make the defense be a little bit more honest in terms of guarding her. Bonner leading the team with 19 points. Carrington, she had a great start to the season in terms of her scoring. It slowed down a bit, but nonetheless, her activeness on defense is also what largely contributes to this team being a great team. Right now, Alyssa Thomas, she's averaging 13 points, 9 rebounds, and 8 assists per game. Those are great numbers, right? Like, don't get me wrong. Like, those are absolutely like those are great numbers because we know that's what she is capable of, and we don't want to be like. I definitely don't want to get to a point where it's just like, oh, I got comfortable with her like near triple double. It's like, no, I won't. Like what she continues to do for her team, she's the lifeblood of that team. She's the heartbeat of that team. That team is not 9-1 without Alyssa Thomas. 1010% a fact. Period. That is a fact. They aren't who they are without Alyssa Thomas, which is a tribute to her greatness. However, I think either you find somebody like a Dewana Bonner who can be just as good at creating their own shot. You find somebody, by the trade deadline to bring on, or I feel like since Alyssa Thomas is the one who has the ball in her hand most of the time, she has to like look to like be more aggressive because I feel like they will truly need that to get over the hump of a Seattle Storm, a New York Liberty, a Minnesota Lynx, a Las Vegas Aces, man. And forgot to put it in my notes, but real quick, I want to bring up Brianna Jones because she's also, her coming back from injury. They didn't have her for a great part of the season last year, so her coming back from injury has been good for the ball club, and so she's coming into the season averaging 13 points. So it's just like You're getting your production from Brianna. She's giving you 13. You're getting your production from Dawana. She's averaging 18, 19 points. Alyssa averaging 13. Carrington, I want to say is right at what else? I'll just wait and see what it pull up. Yeah, I was gonna say Carrington's averaging you, giving you 12 points per game, and like that pretty much like that scoring has to come from somewhere else. That scoring it has to come from somewhere else. And I don't think it's necessarily gonna come from y'all bench if I'm just being like 1,000 completely honest about it. I don't think that scoring comes from y'all bench on the after that core four, I'm gonna say this and move on. Okay, so the one averaging 18, Brianna giving you 13, Alyssa giving you 12 right now through 10 games. Dejanay Carrington giving you 11, and Ty Harris giving you 10, right? So all of their starters are in double figures. All of their starters are in double figures, right? So we we know all of the starters are giving you double figures, but after the starters, bro, like the highest points per game for players coming off the bench for the Sun is 4 by Tiffany Mitchell. And like they gonna have to find that scoring from somewhere. And I'm just delegate it to either be through you having to make the trade that you need to make, or maybe you could argue like they didn't do what they were supposed to do in the off season and find somebody. But I'm gonna delegate that responsibility to Alyssa Thomas. I just either Alyssa Thomas or um Bonner, Dewana Bonner, like needs to go on a heater when it comes time to be in the playoffs, and we know they're gonna play big minutes. Because yeah, I just don't like how teams don't necessarily, I say teams, but particularly looking at the Liberty game and the team that you're gonna face down the road or have to, excuse me, a team you're gonna have to go through to get to the finals or win the finals. Um, yeah, you got to make the teams honest with your scoring, and that's why I would delegate that responsibility of like where you're gonna pull scoring from to the Liberty. I mean, excuse me, to Alyssa Thomas. One last quick note for the Sun, for the Connecticut Sun, they started the season off 9-0, and of them to start off the season 9-0, 7 other teams, or they're the 7th team to start off the season at least 9-0. And of those other teams who started the season off 9-0 or better, they all at least reached the WNBA finals. So with that start to the season for the Connecticut Sun being 9-0 before losing to the Liberty this past week, all signs say that they should go to the WNBA finals this season. At bare minimum, they should reach the WNBA finals. Will that happen? To be determined. Talking about those two teams, another team that has had a complete shift, a complete makeover is the Seattle Storm. Seattle Storm, they acquired Neka Ogumake in the offseason, who's a MVP player, all-star, all defensive team player as well. And they also acquired Skylar Diggins. Asia Wilson, they lost the Storm beat the defending champs, the Aces, this season. And Asia Wilson, in her press conference, she dubbed them to be a super team. And that's a very valid statement. The Storm are fourth right now. The Storm are fourth in the they have the 4th seed with a 7-4 record. And they have a top 3 defense, I believe. Yeah, they got a top 3 defense. And apart from Jewel Lloyd, apart from Naka, apart from Skylar Diggins, Ezzy Megabord is hooping. She balling. Quiet you know what I'm saying, kind of keep to herself. You know, you don't really, see her as publicized as the other players in the WNBA. But Ezzy is tied leading the lead in blocks with 3 per game. And she's tied with Asia, but she's played more games than Asia. Uh, yeah, yeah, Ezzy averaging 3 blocks a game, along with 13 points and 9 rebounds. So she's nearly averaging a double-double on top of giving you 3 points per game. 3 blocks per game. And I think Ezzy is a tremendous centerpiece for being the anchor of this Storm defense and what they've been able to do this season. Jewel Lloyd giving you 20 points, Naka giving you 17, and Skylar giving you 14 points and 5 assists. And mind you, Skylar didn't play last season, leaving the Phoenix Mercury and also taking time off for maternity leave. And so this team is they hooping. Last year, Jewel Lloyd, she had the green light, right? She had her light was green, lime green, if you will. And when you see a team form with her, Naka, Skylar Diggins coming back, not necessarily being sure with how soon she's gonna gain her rhythm back. They 7-4, bro. And I don't believe the WNBA's their training camps are as long and extensive as the NBA's. Um, but for them to be 7-4, the 4th seed, having the championship pedigree that they have, having the experience that they have, they could very well give the Liberty a run for their money. They could get a Sun a run for their money, because again, it goes back to what I said about the Liberty. They have matchups that you could exploit. On the perimeter, you got Jewel Lloyd. Down in the post, you got Ezzy you got to deal with. You got Naka you got to deal with. And if I want to keep it real, I'm gonna just have to curse, because that's sometimes just a part of my language. So if you got your kids in the car, turn it down or get ready to bleep it or whatever. But if you think shit sweet, you know what I'm saying? Skylar can come through and give you great minutes. She's the floor general for the team. She can get buckets. So, if you have a night with Jewel or may not have it going, you could look up and Skylar Diggins got 18 points. There's a handful of games where she's just been an excellent foul creator getting to the line. And so, yeah, man, like, if I think as I'm talking about the teams and I'm thinking about the teams and like I'm ranking them, I think I may go Liberty. And I know it's like I can hear people saying like, bro, they got the best record. I'm gonna just say I respect the Sun because they got the best record currently. They at 9-1. That's 10 games. So I'm gonna say the Liberty have the best record because they played the most games with an 11-2 record. Then they're 9-1. The Sun are, and then the Seattle Storm are 7-4. So they played more games. How I think this is going to shape out, right? Right now, as it stands, Liberty, Seattle, and maybe, maybe, maybe the Sun. But like the teams are so great because you can't even just like say you're gonna throw the Sun in there, right? Because then you gotta go and talk about the Minnesota Lynx. You gotta talk about the Minnesota Lynx. Um, where's my note for the Lynx? I had a great so through 11 games last year, the Minnesota Lynx were 3-8. You hear me? 3-8, 38. Yeah, I'm saying. Um, but this year they are 8-3. So they've had a complete shift in like how they are playing. They've had a key addition in Courtney Williams. a phenomenal floor general, phenomenal defense on the perimeter. Um, Kayla McBride, like she just went nuclear the other night too. Kayla just went. Uh, let's put some respect on your name, Kayla, because you just went nuclear the other night. You went. What did Kayla McBride drop the other night? She had a 30 ball, if I ain't mistaken. She had like a 30 ball. Yeah, I mean, she had a dirty ball. She didn't have a 30, but she had a dirty ball. Yes. Yo, so in real time, because I forgot who that was against, right? So I said the Liberty. Then I was about to say the Storm, and then I was about to say the the Sun, but you can't just throw it and say the Seattle Storm, because as I was getting to, you gotta put respect on the Lynx name. The Lynx are 8-3 and they have beaten the Storm, right? And so they've beaten the Storm not once but 3 times this season. And so all right, I'm gonna try to do it. I'm gonna try to do it. If I had to rank them right now, I'm looking at the I'm looking at the Minnesota Lynx record. The Minnesota Lynx have beat Seattle 3 times this season, so it's fair to say they got their card. Um, Assuming I think most of those games everybody was at full strength. Yeah, they beat them 3 times this season. However, they played the Lynx. The Lynx and the Storm played the very first 2 games of the season, so teams may not have had all their pieces and had their identity picking all that stuff that they be saying or whatever. Um, if you force me to rank them right now, I'm gonna say give me the Liberty. I'm gonna say give me the Lynx. I'm going to say give me Seattle, and I'm gonna say give me Connecticut. That will get some flack because I know the Sun are 9-1, but I'm speaking of currently right now as constructed, based off their records. And even though they 5-4, like they're gonna be, if you ask me, they're gonna be a team in the playoffs. I'm not in the playoffs, like they the defending champs. And they don't have Chelsea Gray, and right now they're 5-4. I'm talking about the Aces right now. They don't have Chelsea Gray, and that's been a struggle not having your floor general. Like you see, how much she's missed. Um, but despite them not having but despite them not having Chelsea Gray, don't know when she's going to return. You have the interchangeable dual combo backcourt with Kelsey Plum and Jackie Young. Um, and so and they just picked up, I forget who that was that they picked up in the off season off the top of my brain. I want to say it was I want to say is that Tiffany Hayes? I think that was Tiffany Hayes, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, they've just made it. The Aces have just made a they made a acquisition in the off, not even the off season, at the start of the season, uh to get some help in the backcourt with not having Chelsea Gray ready. Yeah, it was Tiffany Hayes. It was Tiffany Hayes that they picked up, who was retired at the time. But yeah, man. So nah, yeah, man. It's like I gotta put respect on them being the defending champs. Like with the way Asia's playing, as I transition into like the MVP conversation, I believe that they're gonna figure it out. But like as it stands, your top teams, uh, Liberty, Lynx. I'm gonna say no particular order because it's still early, and that's also too why I was waiting to do the pod. I mean, not the pod, the show. It's because I want to give these teams time to have have some games under their belt, and so like everybody's like closing in, if not already on like 10+ games into the season. And yeah, man, yeah, top teams. For sure, I'm gonna say at the one spot. For sure, at the one spot, I'm gonna say I'm gonna say it's the New York Liberty. Uh, the two spot. The two spot. I want to say is between the two spot could be a tie. It could be the the Lynx, the Sun, the Storm. But yeah, because some of these teams have beaten each other. For sure, the Lynx are above. For sure, okay, this is what we're gonna do. Liberty, Lynx, Storm, Sun, and the Aces. Only because they haven't yet figured out their we don't know what they look like at full strength yet, assuming Chelsea Gray is going to make a return at some point this season. As of right now, that could change. But yeah,